Listen,
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
we know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Get on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
Last time I checked my contract, I'm contractually obligated to say there's nobody I'd rather have on the podcast than Joe Kelly.
Tattoo brother.
Tattoo. I showed a dude just a few minutes ago, Casey Lubinenga, reliever for the Mariners, who has a tattoo of his dad's baseball card. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So it's done by some dude in LA. It wasn't Mr. Cartoon, but I interviewed him about that and obviously told our story, which is, now that I'm in that community, I'm a badass. Let's go. Do you like have spring in your step after you get that tattoo more than any other tattoo you got?
For the time being, or you mean like for the rest of my life?
I don't know. Like you said, like after you get the tattoo.
What do you mean?
After the tattoo.
Yeah, I love new tattoos.
Yeah, but after the tattoo, you said, "Don't you dare cremate me. Make sure you bury me."
I was jacked up. Jacked up.
Okay, so which were you more jacked up for? After the moments after you got off the chair with Mr. Cartoon's getting that tattoo, or when your team executed the suicide squeeze when you're running in from third base coaching?
Oh, they're different feelings, but they're very similar. I think with how the game played out and that team being a team kind of like where we're from, some of those kids on the other team we beat played flag football with Knox, but it's like they're pretty much the Red Sox Yankees rivalry of 9U baseball. They try to duck us, in tournaments around California. But when we go to Vegas and like a big PG tournament where all the like nationally ranked teams are, I mean we have to eventually square up, and we squared up in the semifinal game.
But by the way, I like how you've expertly morphed from basically trashing major league teams to trashing your travel ball.
Not trashing the teams, bro. I'm just telling the truth. Putting the truth out there.
Okay.
It's not trashing, it's truth.
I know that was the wrong way to phrase it. All right. Well, congratulations for all your success. Here's a simple question. Do you feel like you found your calling doing this, coaching youth?
I love coaching. I wouldn't call it a calling. I don't know about that term. I just like helping. Our team is really, really good. But I feel like every tournament we learn something new in practice, and then we execute it. And that's a great feeling. I mean, because it's not like we're going through practice and doing reps and just doing the same thing over and over. We're doing something different all the time. The game before, we had a guy, ground ball to him, been going over, bases loaded plays or pickoffs and, execute, comebacker, who's going to throw to. He went, home to first, or who's going to cover the comebacker on a ground ball double play, which base to get behind, just all the little details. And, usually we could slug our way to winning games, but an extra inning game and the tie game kind of rule, extra inning rule, brings in a whole different aspect, right? So when you're able to execute something that you kind of have to tediously go over with 9-year-olds, once every 2 weeks, and they hate it, they'd rather just go hit BP or play long toss or do something like that. But I'm telling them, like, eventually we're gonna need this. Like, eventually we're gonna need it. Just keep working. Eventually we're gonna need it. And then it finally comes into play in a big opportunity in a big spot. And it's easy to get nervous and let the moment get too big, especially at being a kid. But if you do it so many times, you could see it in the kids' eyes if they're going to execute or not. talking to them, this is what we're going to do. And, we were able to come out on top.
So you, just to let everyone know, so you coach your son Knox's 9-year-old team, or help coach. You're not
The
the
help
head
coach, yeah.
Yeah, help coach.
I'm not the head coach. He has a few teams, but this weekend was pretty much
You were the head coach.
I was the head coach. Yeah, out of the
correct.
6 games, I was there. We only had him for 1 game, and then I had to run the show after that.
All right. Well, congratulations. I look it up on I added to your Wikipedia page. Yeah.
No,
so,
you didn't.
Yeah. Yes, I did. So do you look at coaching like youth sports or youth baseball differently now than even when we talked about it even a couple of years ago? Because I thought that you were pretty good articulating it for the award-winning, critically acclaimed book, A Damn Near Perfect Game. You did a really good job with that. But do you view it even differently having done it? I mean, probably more than ever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I coach it a lot different. I bring more confidence into them. That's probably the biggest thing. Cause like I said, our team's we got the best players, right? And, there's some other teams with the best players, but it's more of, making them believe more than other, like, you'll coach a game and you'll hear the other team, like, their coaches are talking after every single pitch, like, do this, do that, like, you're doing that. You know what I mean? Like, almost stuff you would teach in practice, like, during the game. When it's game time, I'll help them if I see something, but it's more, what are you going to do? What's your game plan? Like, what's your thought process? So I'm trying to teach them those kind of ideas where that advanced part of the kid's game will, help them. It's stuff that high school kids are learning or college kids are learning, and they're already learning it, at 9 and 10. They're learning, how to read a pitcher. They're seeing if the glove wiggles for an off-speed pitch, and then, one of the kids will run back, like, coach, look at, he's shaking his glove. Like, we know when the curveball's coming. So just all the little things, we're teaching them. Sometimes the pitcher gets lazy with guy on second base. If he looks twice, 3 times in a row, they'll be like, coach, we got it. And then, 4th time, check the runner, and then they're already stealing bags. They're learning all the little nuances of, how to take advantage of the game of baseball, when it brings opportunity. And that's probably like I said, that's probably the most fun thing.
So when you have that video of you jumping up and down and literally that was awesome. Actually, he had posted a video of when you were coming from the third base coaching box, jumping up and down. That was legitimately almost like winning the World Series. Like it felt like it felt like you almost had that same emotion. That's what I mean. You having that emotion, that you're invested in it.
Oh, yeah.
You know you're in it.
Oh, big time. Like I said, it's a team that we play all the time who's not better than us, but they're getting close to being just as good. 1 through 9 were way better. But they played a good game, and it was a slugfest. And at that point in the game, we were down 7 runs before that. We were down 7 runs going into the last inning. And we ended up scoring 7 runs to tie it to force extra innings, and then that's when the squeeze came. So we were already dead in the water.
Did you
I
call
didn't
for
tell my kids this?
Did you call for this? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't tell my kids this, but I got them after we were down 7. Kids are arguing with each other, mad because it's a team that we usually beat. Last day of a 3-day tournament, and they're tired, and I was like, well, we're gonna go home and drive in my head, but I just gave them some little things here and there, speeches about, sticking with the process. Like, how do we get to the next batter? How do we get to the next batter? If you had to get hit by a pitch, or if I was making our top of a lineup, take until they get a strike, try to fill up the bases. So they grinded to get back to tie the game at 7. Me knowing like it was pretty much impossible, but just making sure that they believed that they could do it, and they ended up doing it. And so in the extra inning rule in perfect game baseball, it goes to, bases loaded. They load the bases up and they give you 1 out. So we had one of our best pitchers out there, finishing the game. And then he had to run back out there for extra innings. And I told him, like, we're not going for strikeouts. We're going for outs. Like, we just put up 7 runs. Like, worst case scenario, we're going to score 2. Best case scenario, we're going to score 3, 4, 5. because I knew what kind of pitcher they had on the other side. And so, I'm calling pitches, big moment. Umpire was super, super, super tight. And you have to throw it down the middle. And that's why the game was like 17-17, because it was a walk fest and the umpire wanted to see the kids hit. And so I told my pitcher, like, we need to just get outs, know what to do, like challenge him, throw it down the middle. And then, that was a whole battle in itself. He ended up striking the kid out in like a 5-pitch at bat. We mixed in some long holds until, try to time when the batter's gonna call timeout, throw it down the middle. We ended up striking him out, so we had 2 outs, bases loaded. And I was like, oh God, thank God. So now he puts it in play, we get a run. And then I said, Troy, like, the hitter you're facing is fast. Like, if you get a ground ball back to you, throw it home. And what do you know? Freaking guy smashes one up the middle. And I was like, great, that's a base hit. And it hits the like turf of the mound and pops up, and he jumps and catches it. And I'm screaming 4. And so we get out of it, no runs. And so they're running in, and, we're talking to him. I'm like, this is what we're going to do. And then I went to my hitter. I ended up pinch running the slower kid who was supposed to be at third, took him out of the game, which could have hurt if we had to go to another inning, because he was one of our better hitters at the time. So I ran one of our fast kids, and then I told Logan, who usually, all these kids know how to hit. We practiced bunting, and I was like, hey, do you think you could bunt? And I was like, we're going to squeeze, but I know this pitcher's going to throw strikes because his base is loaded. He has to throw strike. I was like, we're going to squeeze first play. Like, do you know how to bunt it not to the pitcher? He's like, yeah. I won't bunt to the pitcher. And he's a lefty, so I was like, all right, I know he could bunt. So then I went back to third base, and I'm talking, before the guy gets onto my runner. I was like, he's going to bunt it right at the pitcher. So the only way to make this work is if you get a big lead, and when I yell at you, like when I tell you to go, like, because I could read the pitch out of hand. I know if it's going to be buntable or not. And so I had him huge, and then I saw the pitch out of hand, and I just told him to go because it was going to be a strike. And what do you know? He bunted it right back to the pitcher. The pitcher made it. It was a bang, bang play, and the catcher just wasn't aware. He wasn't very heads up, right? Something that they didn't tell their kids over there. Like, we only need 1 run. Like, what? They didn't expect we were going to squeeze, first pitch. And so the catcher wasn't even standing on the plate. Like, the ball got to him, and he realized he wasn't on the plate, and he just let the ball go by. So he could have had it out there, and then we would have to take our chances again, right, for a base hit. But the squeeze was executed perfectly, and it was just a crazy game. Like, so we're down 7.
When you saw the video, did you realize that you reacted like that?
Oh, I knew. You should see the whole game. A couple of our kids are hitting homers over the fence, and I'm freaking, Bash brother, and they're jumping, and we're jumping, hitting elbows. And then it was crazy because of that big emotional game. And then we had to play a championship game right after against another good team. And that game went extra innings as well. It was like a 2.5-hour game because the lights went out. We won like 15-14 again. And at that moment, Knox was up. We had the bases loaded. Knox was up. And the same umpire, so I was like, Knox, you're taking until you get a strike. And ball 1, this kid's throwing gas, ball 1, and Knox likes heaters. And so 1-0. So I give him another take sign at third base, and what do you know? This fucking idiot swings. So he swung at a ball at his eyes, and I'm telling you, if he would have hit it, it would have been a tank. So it was a perfect swing, and he swung, and I was like, bro, it could have been 2-0. Like, I was looking for like a walk it off, nothing but swinging. He swings, fouls it off. And he looks down at me, and I'm like, well, now you have to swing. Like, it's 1-1. Like, you have to put the ball in play. And the pitcher goes 2-1, pitcher goes 3-1, and then pitcher dots a heater full count. And I'm like, all right, you got to do something. And the pitcher throws a freaking heater inside. I'm like, oh, thank God, because Knox likes it in. And he just freaking turns on it. And it would have been like a double or triple, but we only needed 1 run. And he smoked one down the line, and we walked it off again. That's when I ran over to him with our arms up.
That's awesome.
So it was just a hectic day. Yeah, it was a hectic day.
So, first of all, it was this whole thing was in Vegas, and I told you as soon as I found out it was in Vegas, I said, go find the place where you got in your first fight, right?
I tried to. Guess what happened?
Yeah. Well, so let me explain this. So when we were doing the book, right, we're saying, like, you obviously got in a fight Fenway Park, but your first fight,
yeah,
you said it was, I think, 11 years old, a travel ball tournament, just like you're talking about that you just took your team to in Vegas. So go ahead.
Yeah, we were gonna go. We drive to Vegas all day. We go to Top Golf, and then on the way home, we go drop off a player and his dad at his hotel. And so me and Knox are about to turn on Las Vegas Boulevard. It's probably like 10:15, 10:30, about to go to bed to get ready for the tournament. And my Porsche, not Ashley's, my Porsche just takes a crap out of nowhere. I went to go turn on Las Vegas Boulevard, and my Porsche just check engine light comes on,
Not the
transmission
not
light
the
comes
Otani
on.
Porsche, not the Otani Porsche.
No, there's no transmissions in electric cars like that.
Okay.
And just stopped, and I was like, "What the hell?" Meanwhile, cars are just flying by me, like I'm gonna get hit. And 10:30, and I try to go turn it off, turn it on, put it in reverse, doesn't work. Put it in neutral, it recognizes neutral. Put it in gear, and give it some acceleration. We give it some gas, and it goes nowhere. It's just not moving. And I do this for like 15 minutes before I realize like my car is done. And so he's tired. He wants to go to bed, and we're panicking. And like we were gonna go to the hotel the next day before the games, and we ended up sitting there. And I called 5 tow trucks, called Porsche, and long story short, I had myself sprinting across Las Vegas Boulevard, grabbing cones from anywhere I could see to block my lane because people were like they couldn't see because it's dark and almost rear-ending me. And so long story short, it was like 3 hours of waiting. We got picked up at like 2:30 in the morning. I paid for pretty much 5 tow trucks just for one to pick me up because I was like, first come, first serve. I don't care. I'm going to waste my money. I need to get out of here. Get picked up. All these other tow trucks are calling me. I'm like, yeah, I got a ride. Charge my car. I don't give a crap. So anyways, we get picked up, and at that point, we needed to ride the game. And so my wife gets me a rental car. Knox is crying, like, I just want to go to bed. We get to the hotel like 3. And I was like, well, we're not going to Sunset Station tomorrow, pretty much.
Yeah, which is where you got in the fight, Sunset Station.
Yep. They still have the same arcade, everything. Everything's the same.
Tell real quick, tell the story about when you got in a fight. Because I think this paints a picture of youth baseball on the road.
Yeah, there's some random kid I don't know if he was on a different team, but there was this random kid that just kept pushing one of this kid on my team named Billy, and every time he come out of the slide, he'd like say something, call him like Dumbo because Billy had like really big ears. He was like smaller than me, like which is hard to do. Like I was one of the smaller kids, and he was even smaller than me, and just making fun of him, saying he was ugly. He had Dumbo ears, like pushing him, and I kept watching. I was like, don't fucking touch him again. Like that's my teammate. And so the kid does it again. Billy's like coming out of the slide, and like right behind him, this kid's like feet are on his back. And so they both get out of the slide, and it's like, I told you don't touch him again. And he like made some like, oh, who cares? Like, and then at that moment, my eyes just turned dead, right? And I just bopped this kid right in the nose, and it's bleeding instantly. And he's crying, and he's like, oh, and he runs out of the playground, runs past the arcade, and he's like going to tell his parents. And in my head, I was like, I don't give a shit. I hope his parents come back here, and I'll tell them. But the kid never came back. He never came back in the playground. I never saw him again. And so Billy was like all watery eyed, and he was like, "That kid was so mean." Like he didn't say like thank you because he didn't realize what's going on. He's like, "The kid was so mean. He deserved it." And I was like, "Yeah, he did." I was like, "I told him stop picking on you." And so I didn't give this bully a chance. I just fucking popped him right in the nose. Right. But
that was your first fight ever. You said, right?
Yeah, I mean, first time hitting someone. It wasn't really a fight because I fucking bopped him square in the nose, dude. Like a fucking. Like at that point, I'm probably throwing 60, like a 60-mile-an-hour heater. Bah! And it was such a good feeling. I just knew. He instantly went, ah! There's like blood. I didn't break his nose, but it got him good. And he's like, ah! And I'm like, hey, don't be a bully. I warned him, bro. I warned him multiple times too. It wasn't like one. And like Billy kept playing. He kept falling. I'm like, get the fuck off my teammate, dude.
Can you tell your team? You should tell your team that story because
now I told Knox. He knows.
Well, yeah, but you tell everybody. It shows you stick up for your teammates.
Yeah, now when I remember Vegas, it wasn't the fight. Now it's just getting stuck on freaking Las Vegas Boulevard. And people are like honking at me, and they're like, just push it to the side. I'm like, motherfucker, the transmission's broken. People are like helping me, trying to help me. They're like, oh, Joe Kelly. And I'm like, fuck, this is even more embarrassing because people are recognizing me, right? And so like I just ended up able to move it like a foot. I got it. I turned it off. I tried to undo my battery to reset it, and I turned it back on. Finally, like an hour waiting for the tow trucks, and I was able to move it like 3 feet, and then that's all I could move it. And then I had to wait another 2 hours before finally I got picked up.
So if we're gonna power rank your most memorable times in Vegas, it's the suicide squeeze / Knox walk off. It's
Yep.
bopping Billy no, Billy was the bopping the kid in the nose, right?
Yep.
And then
Car breakdown number three.
Car breaking down number 3.
Oh, number four. Number four has got to be higher than the car breakdown. Number four is we try to do it on the way in. Buffalo Bills had the roller coaster. I don't know about Buffalo Bills at the state line. And me and my teammate Eric at the time, I think it was the same tournament. Maybe a different tournament. But we ended up breaking the consecutive ride record on the roller coaster at Buffalo Bills. I asked the person, I don't know if it was true. I was like, "How many times did someone rode it?" And they're like, 21. And that makes sense because it's Vegas, right? And it was empty. I was like, "Well, we're gonna ride it 22 times." And I asked my favorite travel ball coach, it was his son. I was like, "Hey, can we ride it?" Because he was with me, and he's like, "I don't care." And so we rode it 22 times. So that's one of my other ones. That's my favorite. So I took Knox. I was like, "Knox, this is the roller coaster I fucking rode 22 times." He's like, "Let's go ride it, Dad." I was like, "Amen. Let's go ride it." So we get there and I see no roller coasters, right? And not running. So I Googled it. It hasn't been running for like 2 years. So Knox was all sad. And I was like, dang it. He wanted to try to break the record, but we didn't.
So that's another thing I'm putting on your Wikipedia page. All these things are going. So
I don't know if I still have it, but at the time I did.
Look at this.
That guy.
Look at this. He's paying.
Turn it around. Let me get the credit card info. There it is.
I'll delete that part.
I'm about to order Domino's. It's 50% off this weekend.
He said he's about to order Domino's. It's 50% off. He says he's in. He's paying. So all right, I love this. Tales from youth baseball. That's good. I like this. So it's again, congratulations on all your records and congratulations on your exploits. Here's a very in-depth question. Not playing. This is the first time in your life you haven't been playing baseball on late April. Correct?
April 22, April 22nd.
First time in your life. Which, if you said a few years ago you weren't playing baseball on April 22nd, I mean, not playing baseball. I'm not talking about rehabbing, whatever. And you would be, and I would tell you, you don't miss it because you're doing this other stuff. What would you say to me? I mean, maybe you miss it.
I'd say you're probably right.
Really?
Yeah.
That you don't miss it because you're doing this other stuff?
I mean, that's a strong take, but it doesn't faze me right now.
Really? That's a better way to put it. That it wouldn't faze you.
I haven't lost sleep over it. Yeah, it doesn't faze me at all.
Did you feel like even maybe a year ago, if I said that to you, that you would think that? Because it sounds like you're really, because it sounds like you're like having the time of your life, to be honest with you. Other than the car situation.
Great. The car situation, no. It's still at the mechanic, but yeah, no. I think it'd be probably right.
Okay. So what is so you're just going to keep coaching? What are you doing? Because the people want to know.
I have a plan, but it's not something I could say.
All right. Even if I let you keep Will Fleming's credit card number.
No.
You have a plan. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what? Okay. You're not going to say what your plan is. When's your season end?
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
It's usually the last tournament's usually the World Series. I'm not sure when that is. I think it's in June.
June. Okay. Would your plan eliminate the possibility of you coaching in June?
No.
Or are you planning on coaching in June?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. See, we're getting there.
No, my plan takes a while.
Ooh. All right. All right. Well, you're still spry. I was by the way, I was talking to a guy who used to be the scouting director when you were drafted the Cardinals.
Which one?
Mosaic? No.
Oh, John.
Yeah, John. And we're talking about that draft, the 2009 draft, and he's like, "Yeah, we were at the dinner last night, and we were just talking about Joe. Like we're just talking about Joe. He's like, he was the most athletic, and this is like gonna scratch right where you itch, but he's like, he was the most athletic guy. He could do anything." I'm like, and
I ruffled his feathers sometimes. I know I pissed him off a little bit.
yeah, but still, like it was like we were just talking about him last night. He could do anything. Like, yeah,
That's
I
fun.
know. Like that's what he tells me. He's like, he can skateboard off a couch and do all
Yeah.
this stuff. What's the most athletic thing you've done in the last couple?
Recently,
Yeah.
I learned how to ski. I've never been skiing.
See, another thing. Another thing.
Yeah. Well, since I'm not playing, I'm like, I'm already hurt. Like, who cares if I get hurt somewhere else? But I'm safe. I've only fallen once and like 3 times.
Are you good at it?
I mean, for never skiing, I think I'm good at it. My son's better, Knox. He's like doing Olympic runs already. Like, he just learned too, but he just has less fear. Like, I have no fear, but I was like, if I go down, like, who's gonna, take him to this? Who's gonna help with around the house here? But I learned how to ski, and so now we are season pass holders. But we got all the mountains. We can do Mammoth. We can do Bear. It's for everything. So we have it for next season too. So I'm looking forward to skiing. I know how to snowboard, but I've never skied in my life. So I was like, I want to try skiing.
Yeah.
So we took them, and then we took the twins. They learned how to ski finally. So that's probably the most recent thing I've done.
Okay. Do you
Other than playing adult basketball in my front yard or pickleball, it's probably skiing.
Oh, you're a pickleball guy?
No, only when people come to my house because I have a court.
Oh.
I don't ever play until someone shows up at my house.
Okay. And then you would dominate. Do you watch games at all?
I haven't. I do when I have time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do when I have time, but there's a practice every day
So
with one of my kids.
have you gotten your ring? I don't think you've gotten your ring yet. Have you gotten your ring?
No, I haven't set it up. I've talked with Friedman and stuff. He's like, "Do you want to come to the field and do it in front of the crowd? Do you want me to bring it to you? I'll fly it, whatever." But I haven't given him an answer yet on what I want to do.
Okay. Because you saw Honeywell got his ring the other day
Yeah,
in Texas.
yeah.
And then you didn't go to the White House either,
No,
right? Did you want to?
no
or
White House. I mean, I guess I wasn't like a thing I was dire need.
I think everyone was anticipating, like, what's Joe
Yeah.
gonna do? Let's go.
Yeah,
Right.
no, it wasn't like a must do, but I was fine.
All right. What were you doing? You were probably legitimately
I was
skiing.
doing something. I know I was busy. I had something. I forget what it was.
Okay. All right. Well, the most important thing is that you're educating young minds. And that's in all sincerity, that's the most important thing. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I just want to give them something that they'll remember. All these kids are learning things. Obviously, Knox I don't really teach him anything. He's just raw. But that's the best thing about it. Like, he's just as good as everyone else, and 90% of my team's got a hitting lesson this day or a pitching lesson that day. And he's been asking me to pitch, and I was trying to save his arm, but we ran out of pitching in the championship game, and so Knox's first big game, he had a pitch in the championship game. He came in relief for a couple innings.
Does he pitch like you?
He's way better. He throws hard. He throws a breaking ball, but it's 99 out of 100 pitches are fastballs. And he fucking locates so well. He throws the most strikes on the team, which is
Really?
crazy. Yeah, the in, out, up, down. Like, he's so fun to call pitches because, I mean, he hits the catcher's glove every single time, and he throws hard. So he could get by at this level, even as the best kids in the country, with throwing one pitch. It's a heavy fastball. It spins good. He's the only kid on the team that throws a fastball with 2 fingers. I taught him at a young age. And so it rides. Like, my ball sinks, his ball, he could throw it down the middle right by guys because it's like an invisible. It's like an Alex Vesia heater. It's got good spin, good carry. Kids try to square it up and it like jams them or they pop it up. It's a different fastball. It's super impressive.
But and you aren't even like teaching him. You said
No, nothing.
really?
He won't let me. I mean, he'll ask once in a while, but it's not like I'm like we could go in the cage and I could like teach him 3 pitches. I could teach him never, give up a run. I could teach him how to, you know, see where the hitter's standing. I give him hitting lessons, but I just let him play because he has fun. Like, most of these kids on my team, play one sport, and like I said, they're doing hitting lessons. Like that's a little overkill. They're always hitting every day. Like Knox doesn't hit until like practice or the game. Like he's got tackle football coming up. He's in soccer right now, so he's the only kid that plays 3 sports at all times.
Do you think more kids should?
I do. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I do, but like if the kids love it, like the kids on my team that grind are the ones that like love it. Like maybe 2 of them out of the 12 kids on my roster are getting like forced to like, all right, I have to go to the cages, or I have a hitting lesson. But I'd say 90% of them are like, yes, when's my hitting lesson? When's my pitching? But so like that's fine with me. But if the kids ask me about, you know what I mean? But if the parents are like send him like, oh, you have your pitching lesson today, and the kid's like, like that's what I'm talking about. U Sports, like that's what you don't need.
Wow. Listen, I'm shipping out a bunch of shirts for your team. Whether you
Let's
want it or
go.
not. Yeah. And see that?
Those hats are fire, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Thank God you got rid of your old stupid hats.
Which one?
I don't know. You wear some beaters, bro.
Everyone loved them. It was my brand. My brand
It was your brand. The hobo fucking media member. If your brand is looking like a bum, Rob Bumford, dude. Rob Bumfo.
Thank you for that clip.
Rob Bumfo.
All right. Well, on that note, is there anything that you need to ask me as your employee? By the way, I had Honeywell on. We had Honeywell on the podcast.
Yeah, talk to him.
Yeah.
How was it?
Did he say it was the time of his life? Yes.
No, he didn't even mention you, honestly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the brand's in good hands, man. Like it's never like you hate when I say it, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Brand's in great hands.
No, you don't know what I'm going to say.
Life is good besides the Lakers fucking taking a shit game 1, but we got them tonight.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. The brand is never the brand has never been hotter, is what I'm going to say. It's the brand.
Maybe we should send some shirts to the Lakers.
Okay. Whatever. I mean, you're the boss.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I think we should.
All right. All right. Good job.